Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. My friends, we are on to the part 5, very last episode in this 5-part series around are you making this mistake? Okay, so these are the many mistakes and misconceptions that are holding bookkeepers back, keeping bookkeepers getting busier and busier but not thriving, keeping them from building high profits and lots of time wealth, having lots of fun, keeping them from building the thriving practice with delighted clients and living their dream on their terms, which is very much linear, okay? Bringing this 5-part series to you has been really a lot of joy for me. I really feel like what I've shared with you in this mini training series is going to be high value content that you can absolutely use to be honest with yourself, as a diagnostics tool to think about, what you actually can improve in your practice and to help you self-assess whether you'd like to join my program. I'm never going to shut up about that, because I know how valuable it is. I stand by how valuable it is, and I would love to help as many bookkeepers as humanly possible in my program as well, okay? So please do enjoy this very last episode in this 5-part series, and let's get stuck in. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Okay, so we are on to the last episode, and I do like to give you a little bit of behind the scenes. So I've recorded all 5 of these episodes on the same day. I have not podcast batched for a while because of the laryngitis that I had. And unfortunately, I'm struggling with a little bit again, but I'm pleased to say that I've got through them, which is great for me. Batching podcasts is fantastic for so many reasons. 1, because you can get into a bit of a zone with your thought leadership. 2, because it's great to be organized and have that content ready to go. It mitigates risks around getting busy with family, being a mom, all those kind of things that happen to us. So I have really enjoyed bringing this series to you. And with the mistakes we're going to cover in last week's episode, we went deep into the right-hand side of the mind map that I gave you in the part 1 of this series. And we talked about brand, digital ecosystem, audience attraction, database capture, okay? And we're going to move on from there. So if you have not listened to the first 4, they're only about 20 minutes long each. Maybe the first one might be a bit longer, but it's not a lot of content. So we're talking about under 2 hours, and you can speed me up 1.2 speed if you like, okay? You can get that 2 hours done in no time while you are being the healthy bookkeeper, going for a walk or something like that, okay? I'm going to say it again. Don't be surprised by the results you don't get from the work you don't put in. And it is my job as your coach to turn up and push you ever so gently in the direction of done, okay? So beyond the database capture and the database nurture that we talked about, a quick word on how to work with me. You can join the waitlist for the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, which is a world-class, world-first, described by members as mind-blowing, which typically pays for itself within a month and has a full money-back guarantee. Simply go to thestrategicbookkeeper.global/waitlist. I also have a pricing academy with a calculator and my entire suite of productized services, plus other courses and resources on my website. Email me if you have any questions, okay? on my mind map and in my little list of problems. So we talked about, I've got failing to kit strategically. We talked about that last episode. And then I've got a few here on my little list, and I'm just going to come back and have a look on my mind map as well. And I'm going to combine these two. So once we've got the audience and we value and manage to capture them into our database, so that's social media, email, telephone, and then we work out, how to keep in touch. For example, in my bookkeeping practice, so I have a platform called betterinbusiness.global. And I launched a podcast that I record fortnightly there. And it's to help entrepreneurs learn the rules of the game and do better in business. It's bite-sized and it's aimed at small service-based businesses. And I did it with a dream that one day I would launch the Strategic Bookkeeper and that it would become like a done-for-you nurture asset that they could use to put their prospective clients and clients through the customer journey to build demand and desire for strategic bookkeeping. Yeah, so a bit like done-for-you lead gen. So like a crazy scientist, I have done that. So that's an example of how I can keep in touch with my clients is I send them that podcast once a fortnight. And recently when I did that, I got messages back. I can't even remember which podcast it was, but it was like, you know what, Jeannie, that one hit the mark. And I'm like, oh, cool. And my clients can continue to get value from me in order to help them do better in business on a fortnightly basis, okay? And that is, I do not send newsletters. As I've said before, please do not send newsletters. A podcast specifically designed to help my clients do better in business with bite-sized targeted information is really what is relevant in this tech, economic, and consumer landscape, okay? So when we are nurturing our clients or nurturing our prospective clients, because when you engage with a prospective client, for example, one of the misconceptions that happens is they're either going to say yes or no to working with you. The truth is they might not say anything. Yeah, you might get to proposal stage. You might never get to proposal stage. The point is, and the thing that you need to know and the misconception that you might have, yeah, so is that when a PC comes through, they're either going to say yes, they're going to say no, or they're going to say nothing, or they're not going to get to conversion stage. So if they say yes, they become a client, yeah? If they say no, then they're back in your customer journey, yeah? It doesn't mean they won't say yes later. If they say nothing, they're back in your customer journey. If it never goes to proposal, they're back in your customer journey. The key is to keep in touch with them. Even if they say yes, they're still in the customer journey because they've got more problems that you could solve, yeah? So take stock of that for a minute, because in terms of mistakes and misconceptions, in my first 5 years, in my fuck-up years, probably even beyond the first 5 years, I didn't know that, yeah? So if you don't know that, if you didn't know that, if you haven't thought about this whole customer journey, please do be honest with yourself and realize that this is a misconception and a mistake that is absolutely 100%, no questions asked, holding you back from being as good as you can be, okay? So keeping in touch with our clients, with our prospective clients, with accountants on our database, like Deb was just talking about, she got a referral from an accountant because we teach you in the program, we give you this amazing client dashboard and all this other stuff, and then you actually CC the client's accountant on the dashboard. And it's so dazzling that Deb got referrals from accountants without having ever even spoken to the accountant, okay? So strategic ways to keep in touch in a very easy, automated way will drive a pipeline of business to you, my friends, okay? I've done a podcast on pipeline. You must listen to it. As I said in the last episode, if you really want to get results with me personally, you're going to immerse yourself in me 100%, okay? So listen to the episode on pipeline. So now we're going to talk about database nurture, passive and active, okay? And the mistakes you may be making there, because you might not be keeping in touch with people strategically at all. And if you're not, you are definitely making the mistake around database nurture, passive and active, okay? So in the mind map, you'll see database nurture passive, and then it'll say the customer journey, inquiries, new business pipeline. onboard or customer journey. That's exactly what I just talked about then. They're either going to onboard or they're going to go back through the customer journey. Some people will take 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years to buy. Okay, that is the beauty of time in business and pipeline. So that's the passive part of how we nurture our database. We put them on our database and then we serve up content and welcome lines via social media and email in order to continue to provide value so that they can continue through the customer journey, so that they can advocate for us and our brand, like that prospective client of mine that hasn't said yes yet, but is actually out there telling everyone else they should work with me, okay? So this passive database nurture, the reason I call it passive versus active is that a lot of it is set and forget. So a lot of it's automated. Like if you've got a podcast, for example, you don't need to have a podcast. This is just an example. It's going to be pretty easy and automated to just send that to your database fortnightly with some simple templated messaging, okay? You can also set up some other basic automations, or you can do it manually. But once your database is organized and in order and you have a process, just keeping in touch with them is not very hard, okay? So then the active database nurture is what's called business development or business development management, okay? Because you've all heard of a BDM, a business development manager, okay? So in my practice, for example, and with the members of the transformation program, to use them and to use me as an example, some of us get to a point where we primarily do the passive marketing, so to speak. So the passive database nurture, because we get so busy with high quality work and we want the time well. So as you know, I only work in my practice maybe an hour a week, but if I wanted to work longer hours, well, I could put more money in my bank, but I want to be time rich, right? So ultimately, some of us end up just leaving the passive stuff going because we're not chasing a lot more work, okay? And in fact, a lot of us are focused more on helping our existing VIPs level up because oftentimes they're prepared to give us a lot more money. Yeah, I'm talking $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $1,000 an hour to solve more problems than, chasing a new client, okay? An existing client is far more likely to already value you and want you to continue solving problems without price as a priority than finding a brand new cold person, okay? It's a bit like when you've got, friends in your inner circle. So I'm thinking of some of my closest friends and how much I love them and how heartbroken I would be if they weren't in my life versus somebody I've just met and I've known 5 minutes. If they leave my life, I'm not even going to think about them again, okay? So your existing clients that you've had for the longer term, they're in a deeper relationship with you, okay? So suffice to say, this passive database nurture, once your practice gets really robust, is often where it's at. But the business development activities is where bookkeepers 100% miss the mark. And it's where a lot of the opportunities lie when it comes to find, onboard and retain clients without price as a priority. And in my program, I have an entire standalone module dedicated to this alone, which actually we're making available for sale by itself. I would much rather you come into the program and let me give you the keys to the kingdom. I call it Find New Clients, and it's really the business development activities are how you are truly going to find, onboard and retain new clients as well as upgrade existing clients into solving more problems. Now, an example of business development activities, and we do have a free training called Profit First, how to build and maintain a highly profitable practice. And in the most recent version of that I recorded, I went fairly deep into business development, what it means and the activities and more. So what I might do is get my amazing executive assistant, Joselle, to drop a link into that free training in this podcast episode so that you can access that. You can either listen to that training podcast style, even though it is video, because if you're a busy multitasking mama, that is the best option, or dad as well. What I'd recommend recommend is you listen to it, and then when you hear me talk about certain parts where you think, oh, I want to see that slide, then you can go back and have a look at the slide as well, okay? Or you can even request a copy of the slides from us too. So if the passive part is like, for example, where I'm keeping in touch with an inactive client by email, then the active part would be where I send that inactive client a text message, a personal text message to say, hi, how's things? Haven't heard from you in a while. And I was just thinking about you. Are you keeping up to date with the books, or do you need a hand? Okay. So when you wear the business development manager hat, you are doing these active activities, generally using your telephone. So for me, I like to simply text people. Occasionally I'll give them a call, but I find text message is very kind of intrusive, non-invasive. And what happens is I either get a text message back straight away, or I get one back weeks later with gratitude. And I'll tell you right now that the business development activities that you do are what are really going to drive the new business in your practice. So if you are not doing active business development activities, okay, and examples of them would be reaching out to past and inactive clients by text message to check in, reaching out to accountants to set up meetings to see how you can deepen your referral relationship, reaching out to existing or new evergreen advocacy partners. This is all by telephone and text message. Reaching out to people in your business networking group, the structured group that you attend, to organize dance cards, also known as one-on-one catch-ups, and reaching out to clients to engage them in your welcome lines that build demand and desire for your succession services, which I give you some of that in my book. So I serve up some of that in my book. In the program, we have incredible assets around that. So that was 5 activities I gave you there that are active business development activities, okay? So if you are making the mistake of not putting the business development management hat on, that is a mouthful to say. If you're making that mistake and not doing business development activities, then you are absolutely missing a massive opportunity to find, on board, and retain clients without price as a priority. That one alone is by far the business development, that bookkeepers tell me, oh my goodness, Jeannie, I did the thing and I just can't believe how it just all happens. Yeah, inactive clients are re-engaging. Past clients are re-engaging. Accountants are talking to me. It's all just working, okay? So my friends, we are on the home stretch of this 5-part series on the mistakes and misconceptions, around are you making this mistake? The very last one would be around standard operating procedures and promises kept. And I'm not really going into that. I'm just going to direct you to my book, To Systems and Team. Everything you need to know is in there. All the mistakes that you could be making are contained in there, and really link through to promises kept as well. If you can't keep your promises to your clients, and I mean relentlessly zero tolerance, keep your promises, no excuses, time and task, then your practice will absolutely fall apart as well. Okay, so that's just a piece of the puzzle. So in today's podcast episode, we really dived into that database nurture and business development. Okay, so being passive and active. Okay, so think about what you didn't know. Think about what you're not doing. Think about the mistakes and misconceptions that are stopping you from an easier journey. Okay, an easier journey to success, whatever success looks like for you. Yeah. Success to me always has looked a lot like happiness. I think life's too short not to be happy. And for me, if I am happy and healthy, then I am successful. Being financially independent is a part of how we find happiness, because financial independence gives us the freedom of choice. Okay. When we are financially independent, we have enough money, we get to make the choices to live where we want to live, to live with who we want to live with, to prioritize the things that are important to us, and so on. And the same goes for time wealth, okay? So it's the time and the money. So the freedom of time and the freedom of money gives us this foundation from which to be able to prioritize the things that are important to us, to find our joy, to find our happiness. So that's the link between success, if I call success happiness, and money and time, okay? So, my beautiful community, I do hope that you enjoyed this 5-part series. I'd love to hear any feedback that you've got. I'd love for you to email me at hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Tell me what you got out of it. Tell me what questions you've got. Comment in the Facebook group, run through the hills and sing about it and tell everyone you know. Go into your Facebook groups, your forums, and say you've got to get on this podcast and listen to this 5-part series. I would love all of those things. And I'd also love for you to thrive in practice and to have all of your dreams come true, especially to build a thriving practice, delight your clients, and live your dream on your terms. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So, what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.